Welcome to On Mac Development, conversations and tutorials on today's latest technology in Mac software, applications, programming, and development. You can access related resources, recommended reading, special offers, and more when you visit the On Mac Development Resource Center at informit.com/MacDEV Center.
Hi, I'm Diane Daniel, and I'm here at Voices That Matter, the iPhone Developers Conference. I'm here with Kevin Avila, and we were talking just a little bit ago about the importance of audio to iPhone application development and how that doesn't get a lot of play with a lot of people because they're already terrified to be learning these other things. So we're going to talk about some of the ways you cannot be so afraid.
Yeah, so it's, most of Core Audio is just a plain C API. It's object-oriented by concept, but not by, implementation.
What do you mean by that?
In that they're C APIs, right? So it's, it's not like you can just call, create new audio player with this file and go. And it's, I don't want to say, that Core Audio is difficult. It's flexible. And for, a lot of people doing apps and whatnot, like a simple app, it's overwhelming, right? If they just need to create a beep or some simple sound, right? Like it's just too much. But it allows, the flexibility allows the power for cool iPhone apps like synthesizers or, DJ apps or, whatever you may want to do to add effects to it. And, it's really a whole, audio processing studio it's capable of doing. So, and bringing that to the iPhone is just really amazing. There's Smule makes the IMT Paint app, which is really popular now. And that's, basically a auto tuner for the iPhone, so you can auto tune your voice and sing along, and and then you don't sound terrible, right? So audio has amazing effects like that.
So what were you telling people in your seminar earlier, or is it tomorrow?
Tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay. How are you counseling them again as they're already trying to? Some of these people are, they may not be new developers, but they're just learning new language and framework.
So my session tomorrow is basically, I'm focusing on audio for game development. And basically what I'm going to cover is just some audio fundamentals, like basic digital audio principles and terminology that, once you understand those concepts, right, like the rest of the stuff, like it makes sense. And then into the game part, I'll be talking about a technology called OpenAL, which is like these effects I was just talking about. It provides a 3D spatial environment for your game. So you have positional sounds, and you can hear sounds coming from behind you or around you or anything like that. And you can tie those sorts to like anything like a game piece or a character or whatever, right? So, if you're playing a first-person shooter and there's an enemy approaching from behind you, like OpenAL allows you to like hear footsteps approaching from behind you, and it really provides just, the whole experience for the game.
And that does sound complicated.
Yes. Yeah.
So what would you counsel? I mean, obviously, a lot of people watching will not have gone to that conference. Right. So what are some first steps or some easy ways to sort of ease into this?
I think there's more and more sample code that Apple provides every day, and documentation is getting a lot better. Also, I'll plug the Core Audio mailing list, Apple's mailing list. The audio engineering team monitors that list pretty religiously. So any questions, like you can ask it there, and get an almost immediate answer from the engineer, like the person who wrote it at Apple. So they know what they're talking about. And in my part, it's I just cover things that are specific to the iPhone, like how to handle a phone call coming in, right? Like how do you deal with interruptions like that, or an iCal alarm and stuff like that.
When you're coding, or?
No, like when you're in a game.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
So there are specific APIs and tasks that are specific to the iPhone that you have to manage to handle things like that, like phone calls coming in, right? Which makes it different from coding on the desktop, where a phone call doesn't, well, it interrupts you, but not, it doesn't take away your whole workspace and stuff.
Right.
So there's a lot of things to handle, for games like that, to make sure that's handled appropriately.
Anything else that helps? You mentioned, we were talking earlier, and you said people get very terrified at this. Any other thoughts, closing thoughts on it?
I think really just learn the very basics of digital audio, like terminology.
Okay.
And you don't have to necessarily go and take a course or anything, but if you just learn basic terminology, then the APIs make sense. The flexibility in core audio is, like I was saying earlier, is it's very flexible, and you can create sound studios with it. So that's how Apple has done that, has engineered the API to do that, right? So it's like for pro users, and thus the APIs are kind of named weird with that terminology. But once you understand what a sample or a frame or a packet is, everything else comes together really easy.
Okay.
So it's just a steep learning curve, but once you just get the basics down, it's all downhill from there.
Okay. That's the promise. Anything else you'd like to add before we close?
Well, and coming up, another great way would be to buy my book.
Oh, well, yeah.
Right?
There you go.
So that's a great way to learn it.
Thanks for podcasting with us. Remember to visit the On Mac Dev Resource Center, where you can access recommended reading, special offers, and more at informit.com/MacDevCenter. Be sure you subscribe to this channel so you don't miss a single episode. Brought to you by Inform IT, the trusted technology learning source.